What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. All right, this saga continues when it comes to foxsoul, TGIF, funkydineva, Claudia Jordan. What's really what, and where will this saga end? Now, I talked about this a couple of times and I shared my thoughts and views on it, but I wanted to address something that was brought to my attention. And listen, I don't know if this is the case, so I just wanted to talk about it and get your thoughts. I clearly can see, and most people can see, that funkydineva is very successful at what he is doing on his own platform. But I'm not going to lie, even though I've been subscribed to him for years, and I said this previously, I don't agree with everything that he says. I don't agree with everything that anyone says all of the time, but I can see, and I did pick it up, that something was brewing because he was not really active on his YouTube channel for a while. And then he started popping up every now and then if it was something that was, pretty major that he may have discussed on foxsoul, TGIF. And he also did his own video on his own YouTube channel. And there were times on TGIF where he was discussing a topic that they were talking about. And he would say, guys, I talked about this. I did a video talking about this on my YouTube channel. I don't know if that's something that was allowed, because I previously talked about how, foxsoul may have dropped the ball when it came to funkydineva, and not just so much by letting him go or losing him, but if they were deciding to not renew his contract or not offer him what he was demanding or commanding, not having some language in his contract to say, if you're no longer working with our company, you cannot directly compete with us, at least during the same times that our platform is going live. That's one of the reasons how I felt like they dropped the ball. But now, just some information that was shared. Again, I don't know how true this is, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention because let's just be honest. Like I said, hate him or love him, they clearly gave him an opportunity based on him just being who he is. But that's not to say that him being who he is has not had his problematic moments. And he definitely has had some problematic moments. And there was even a time, I believe there may have been a petition that was started, especially around the time of the Chloe Bailey situation, where people did not want to see him on foxsoul anymore and they wanted to have him removed. So even though the show airs on YouTube, it is a network. It is. So there are the powers that be and other situations at play and people involved. It's not just funkydineva, government name Quentin Latham, Claudia Jordan, and Al Reynolds. There are other people that are calling the shots and making the decisions. And he could have been seen as a liability. So it now may be making a little bit more sense as to why his contract was up at 6 months, whereas Claudia and Al, they were still fine. They were okay. Because I asked the question previously and I'm like, well, why wouldn't they have all of them renegotiating their contracts at the same time? So what was shared with me was the reason for that may be, again, I don't know this to be the case, so I'm not saying that it 100% is, but the reason for that may be because there were some questionable things that were said and some things when it comes to sponsors and advertisers seeing him as someone that they weren't really sure if he fit in terms of the draw for what they were wanting for the people that they wanted to showcase their products and services to be a good fit. I'm not saying that that is 100% the truth, but that may be the reason as to why his contract was up at 6 months and possibly really had no intentions of renewing his contract, especially if they felt like he was a liability in some way and they didn't feel that the amount of money that they were paying him, they wanted to continue to pay him. So yeah, we may bring you back on board, but offer you less, take it or leave it. And he decided to leave it. So again, I don't know if that is the case or not, but I'm saying that that may answer the question as to why his contract was up in 6 months when Claudia's and Al's were not. And even though I'm not involved in the situation and I don't have a dog in the fight, and he apparently he's lit that match and has burned that bridge and has no desire to try to cross back over it. But I believe that now, after the first statement, when he came out and he was basically like, look, it was just clearly a contract situation and I just decided to walk away. And then now he's got, how do I put it? Well, he is basically saying, I don't have a problem with Flame Monroe. My problem is with Claudia Jordan. Oh my God. I was like, don't do this. Don't do this. And it's not, for me, it's not that I'm saying don't do this because I like Claudia Jordan more than I like funkydineva. I'm just saying, you said that that was your friend. And I don't believe, my personal opinion, I don't believe Claudia meant any ill will by anything that she had said on her own YouTube platform in the video that she did, or with the fact that Flame Monroe, someone that funkydineva said, as long as I'm on this platform, they will not come on the show because he's no longer there. So I'm not saying that he would have been okay with it or is okay with it, but I'm just like, don't come out here and do this. But what's done is done. So I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to salvage that friendship that they said that they had. But if they were truly genuinely friends, because they were talking about having meetups and, and doing these different things like that. And now it's like, screw you and your mama too sort of attitude. It's very sad, but I can't even really say that I'm that surprised, because if you did watch TGIF, you could see that you could see that in funkydineva, where especially when it came down to LGBTQ conversations that they were having on the show about something that was either on social media or in the news that they were discussing. And when Claudia would speak about it from the perspective of being a woman, there were a lot of times where funkydineva just was not down for it and didn't really want to hear it. So he can be stubborn a lot of times in his views, and his ego can really abound. So now with him coming out swinging, proverbially on social media about this situation and talking about how much money he walked away from and all of these different things like that, whether that's the case or not, I'm not saying that he's lying about it, but that plays into the ego situation when it comes to him. And that's the part that makes it where I grit my teeth and it's cringeworthy, but he is who he is and he's not making any apologies for it. And he said that he's not giving anybody grace and he's not going to allow anybody to play in his effing face and, the different things that he has said and, proving that you need me more than I need you. Well, people are still watching. Obviously, they don't have the same numbers that they did when he was on there, because a large part of the draw for people who were watching it was because he was on there and it was his followers. Okay. But they're not stopping because he's no longer on there anymore. And I just don't think it's fair, whether he now hates her and despises her. You don't want anyone to treat you that way. You wouldn't want anyone to try to destroy what you have going on because you're no longer affiliated with it, because these people, they're trying to live their lives and make their money and pay their bills just like he's trying to. And now that he says he walked away from $250,000 more per year that he was making with that opportunity. Obviously, it was good when it was good, because he used to brag about going on the yachts, renting out a yacht, going down to the bars, going out and eating crab legs every weekend or whatever, just living a life of leisure. And like he called it, like a rich white woman. I mean, listen, this is what he said. Okay. But I'm just saying, it was good when it was good. So I feel like what was said could be a possibility. I don't know if it is true, but I feel like it could be a possibility where he was on probation and was on thin ice, and they were going to offer him the opportunity to extend the contract maybe for another 6 months, or I don't know, maybe a year, but not for the amount of money that he was either making before, whether it was going to be either a decrease or it wasn't going to be an increase like he was demanding. So they both parted ways. So it is possible that, honestly, Michelle may have been trying to go to bat for him in the background to just say, put him on probation, just give him another opportunity. I think it's a mistake to let him go. So in my personal opinion, I do feel like that would be something that she would do, because it would have been in her best interest as well. Because there are a lot of people that want to say, oh, he was just being used by Claudia. She knew that he had a large audience and she would draw more viewers to her show and whatever, and she threw him under the bus. I don't want to say that she threw him under the bus. What I will say that you would have to be foolish to believe that she did not consider the fact that he had a very large presence and following on social media to say, this could be magic and this could work if we do this as an ensemble cast. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that either, because honestly, that's business. Not everything is someone using you, but definitely seeing an opportunity that can work out for everyone, because it wasn't like she just had him on there and he was making $25,000 a year and she was making $250,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't being used. It was strategic. It was business. It makes business sense. But I don't like where it has gone. Again, I also don't believe that Tasha K really meant any harm. But of course, he's going to see it how he wants to see it. But I don't believe that she meant any harm by trying to connect Flame and Funky. Now, whether it should have been either recorded or him feeling like he was ambushed because he didn't know that she was going to have him on the phone right then and there. And he said he heard Flame say something about him. And then he was just like, all right, then, and just hung up on both of them. And then he decided that he didn't want to have anything to do with Tasha K anymore. It's a lot. I'm not here to try to convince him or anybody else that they should stay connected and be friends and don't allow something like this to get in between the friendship that you have evolved into or whatever. People are going to feel however they want to feel, and clearly Quentin Latham feels how he feels about everything and even everyone involved. But I just don't believe that Tasha K really meant any harm by it, because I listened to the interview with Flame, and I like Flame, but I also understand that there are a lot of people in the LGBTQ community that do not like Flame, because they feel like, in a way, they kind of feel like he is the Candace Owens of the LGBTQ community, because a lot of people feel like Candace Owens is the mouthpiece for a lot of people who are like MAGA, ultra conservative, and mainly, white people to speak negatively about African Americans and the statistics, even though a lot of times she isn't really naming statistics. But anyway, just about a lot of the negative things within the African American community. And that's why a lot of the majority ethnicity, we'll just put it like that, really likes her, because they feel like she says the things that they either don't feel comfortable saying or may get in trouble for saying. So they love her being the mouthpiece for it. But she is, I believe, how some people view Flame in the LGBTQ community. They feel like, oh, the heterosexual community, especially natural born females and straight men, they like Flame because they feel like Flame is saying things that those who are not in the LGBTQ community don't feel comfortable for saying, because they feel like they're going to get canceled. And it's a shame, but a lot of people do agree with a lot of the things that Flame says, because it just makes so much sense. And with that being said, I just don't know the deep inner workings when it comes to Flame and funkydineva, but clearly Funky is not here for Flame at all, and now he's not here for Tasha at all. But listen, clearly Funky was like, I'm not going to be the bigger person. I'm not just going to come out and do commentary and whatever and not talk about the situations at all, and now go in a little bit more when it comes to what's going on. But we know that a large draw to so many people watching his content, especially initially, was because they felt like he was going to go off, tear everybody on TGIF a new one, as well as the people on Foxsoul who were making the decisions as to him not getting what he was demanding of them to continue on the show, if that even happened. Because again, like I said, some information that was shared was alluding to the fact that this was their way of terminating their relationship with Foxsoul by offering the 6 months, allowing that to be done, and then we'll say we're doing contract negotiations, but really we don't want you back. So what you're going to ask of us, we're not going to give it to you, and then allow you to remove yourself. Because nobody really likes firing anyone. I can attest to that, because I've had to fire people before, as well as I've had people that have quit on, their own accord. It never feels comfortable firing anyone, even when, I don't want to say even when, because I've only fired people because I had to do it and there was no choice but to do so. But even when that person is a liability to your business, it doesn't feel good letting them go. Like, good, get up out of here. I don't ever want to see your face again. It's not a good feeling. So honestly, it is something that is easier on an employer and a company to have someone release themselves versus you having to terminate. Like, Fantasia's song, she said, go ahead and free yourself. It's easier sometimes when people do that. So I believe that this is one of the ways that they may do it, by saying, yeah, contract negotiations, let's go ahead and negotiate, when they really have no intention on ever giving you what you're asking for, because they really don't want you to be here, at least for right now. Not saying if things didn't happen the way they happened recently, he couldn't have come back in the future. But with all of that being said, we will continue to see what is transpiring with this situation. I'm going to keep my eyes on it because I am interested in it. And I ultimately wish all of them the best. I don't want any one of them to suffer or go down because of the decisions that were made by funkydineva or even Foxsoul, because he seems to be happy with what he's doing, and he knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for many years. So just do your thing. Don't even talk about Claudia anymore. And Claudia, if she's asked questions, don't discuss it anymore either, because I saw the episode yesterday, that came on yesterday, this morning, and when she accidentally called Flame funky, I was like, oh. And I know that was, of course, a slip of the tongue, but obviously, because of what has been going on, it was just a Freudian slip, not something that she meant to do. It was not her being shady, but some who are just 100% down for whatever when it comes to Funky Dineva, they would see that and see it as that was her being shady. So that's why I don't believe that she really has been shady towards him. I just believe that he is operating off of emotions and feelings, and misunderstandings have come into play. And I've said this for years. Even though sometimes you want to operate and move in your feelings, you cannot allow yourself to be driven by your feelings, because your feelings will fool you and make a fool out of you. I'm not saying that he has been made a fool out of right now, because clearly a lot of people feel like he's winning. They're seeing the numbers, and he's been so far consistently coming live on his YouTube channel at the same time TGIF is coming on live. And, I could see that as being messy or whatever, or it's just, how it fell. But I wish all of them nothing but the best. I really do. And we'll see what comes of this. But I don't want to see Claudia, Funky Dineva having such a hard time, because they, I believe, really loved the chemistry that they had together and working with Funky Dineva, as well as working on this platform. But they shouldn't have to suffer because of the decisions that Funky Dineva has made, as well as the network may have made when it comes to him. So I only say that I feel like they dropped the ball on Funky Dineva for the most part when it comes to the contracts, because the fact that he can go live on his platform at the same time that they're going live, I just feel like they dropped the ball on that. I really do. And yeah, they may have missed out when it comes to still having him on there and getting the numbers and the views that they were getting. But I do believe that they did consider that, and they just decided that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Their opinion. So I just wanted to discuss it. Let me know your thoughts respectfully in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.